And we're live. Hey, Ravi Raj. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hey, everyone. How's it going? Mubashir. Hey, everyone. How's it going? What are you working on? Um, this is an open space. We can discuss basically anything. I can come up with topics, but I want to give you some opportunity first. Like if you have anything you want to discuss first. Who wants to see something interesting? No one? I have something interesting. Um, can you hear me, guys? Because I know Ravi Raj can because he said hi and we responded, and I'm assuming others can. But okay, I want to show you something. Let me share my screen. Um, okay, can you see this? Um, okay. So during World Cup, I was obviously watching and I was rooting for Egypt because I'm originally from Egypt. And then I was like, long story, I created this data study, right? So I wanted to know, like, how is Argentina getting its goals in general so far in the World Cup? And then analyzed every goal and came up with like this data study, right? Obviously not SEO at all, right? It's football, but I was soccer, but I was interested, and I also had an Arabic version here, right? Um, okay, so I'm checking my AI performance report on Bing, right? And I got a lot of citations from that page alone. Can you imagine? Like Argentina goals conceded, Argentina like a lot of citations because of this, even though it's not like I'm not a sports specialist, right? I'm obviously doing SEO. And what does that tell us? I want to see the query, the full query. Anyways, it tells us that I mean, if you do good work, it's gonna get cited, I guess. Like you don't have to look, we've been talking about EEAT for so many years, but I just got cited for soccer results. Obviously, not a lot because the actual demand may be way, way, way more. Uh, but um, like, I still got cited. So I guess good work can still get visibility, even if it's yeah. I guess yeah. It's a trending topic and well written. Yeah, it can get a boost in traffic. Like yeah, right. So it's a very interesting thing really because I'm not getting a lot of citations in general, right? Like I'm getting some citations. Okay, let's go back. Where is the share? Where did the share go? We have a share button here. Yes. Okay. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't get a lot of citations in general. Like, uh, so to see like this getting cited, like I had a job report, got cited a few times, homepage, like other SEO stuff, right? And interesting enough, I have a quiz to assess your skills that also got cited a couple of times. So yeah, I mean, these are the pages that are getting cited. Basically, what is this, like 7 pages? So to have this one get cited that much is, I think it's a very interesting thing. Yeah, so I'll stop sharing that now. Okay, guys. So, thank you, Raviraj, for sharing your thoughts. What do you people think? What are your thoughts on this? I would like to hear from the rest, if possible. Like, I like, I'm not gonna put someone on the spot or anything, but the meeting is actually more interesting when we're all engaging and stuff. You can unmute yourself, you can type in the chat, whatever works for you. Hi, Yahya. Welcome to our conversation, our SEO chit chat.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you.
Um, okay, so we were talking about, I have a data study. I'm going to share the link here on soccer, like I did during World Cup. So it's really a random thing I did, and it got cited like the most on my website. So we were talking about why would people think this page got cited, even though it's not like my area of expertise. Sure, sure, Mubashir, whatever works for you. We're pretty flexible. Like if you want to type in the chat, that would work. If you wanna, I'm talking for everyone. Like whatever works for you guys. If you wanna unmute, would that work? If you want to type in the chat, that would work as well. Yeah. So we were discussing why this could happen. Like if you're getting cited, you should get cited for things you wrote about your area of expertise, right? Like if I'm gonna get cited in AI overviews, it should be about SEO. But it's interesting because I don't get cited. This is not SEO. This is a data study on soccer, and I still got cited, right? And then we have so the insight we got so far from Raviraj was it's a trending topic and well written, so we can get a good boost in traffic. I'm curious. I'm gonna check Search Console and see how did this page do in Search Console. Like, did I get a lot of traffic or not? Page. Well, I didn't actually. Let me share my screen. Where is the share? What happens to the share? Um, okay, so this is my Search Console, and I filtered by the URL. So this is the URL to be clear. And I just got 5 clicks. Like I got a lot of impressions. I was ranking almost seventh, which is weird for these queries. Um, so yeah, let me see what I was ranking here. So I was ranking on the first page for these. Obviously, Google was testing my. I don't think these are the complete impressions, but I got a lot of it, of like for a lot of keywords, right? So the total is 5K. I got 5 clicks. So I think Google was testing this URL, but also, I don't have the AI report here yet. The one in Bing says I was cited a bit. Um, Oh yeah, okay. I can check from which countries. And then I see sometimes AI suggests different answers, so I could be wrong, but I see AI suggests what it fetches according to queries. Can you elaborate, Mubashir? I'm not sure I'm following. Um, okay, let's go back. What countries? Here, Netherlands, Egypt. Egypt is it makes sense because I have an Arabic part on the page. And just by the way, just a note, you shouldn't actually. I'm sorry, I have allergy. Okay, in SEO, you shouldn't have two languages on the page. That is not a good practice. So the rule is one. Okay, I'm not gonna sneeze again. One URL, one content, one language. Like so, like you don't want to have the same content on different URLs. That's duplication. One content means you don't have. it's the same as URLs. You don't want to have the same content on different URLs, and then one language on every page, right? Every page should have one language. And that's not the case with my page. Like if I wanted to follow SEO best practices, I should have created an Arabic version of that report and then used hreflang tags and pointed them to each other, right? Like this is the English version, this is the Arabic version, and they point to each other. Which I didn't do that because I really didn't care. I was just, I this was interesting, so I went for it. Um, okay. Um, yeah, yeah, of course. So for international websites, hreflang tag is definitely recommended. I think it is necessary actually to an extent. Like you can just rely on URL structure. So for example, your website.com/English and then your website.com/AR, Arabic, or whatever language. That is not, this is not enough for Google to identify the languages. You need hreflang tags. Okay. So what are your thoughts, guys? What are you thinking of like this example? I'm looking at the latest news to pick something we can talk about while you give you some time to think of this. Um, well, I have a interesting question again while I'm looking at different news. What are your thoughts on like how often do you check Microsoft? What I think you should give us a time frame. Oh, how long I've been working on this? Well, I launched it. I think July like 5th or something, or 4th, something around that. Um, so I don't know, almost 20 days, 25 days. So that's when I launched that page, almost 25 days ago. But that's a good question. I'm looking at the news. So, okay, guys, about robots.txt, right? There is this discussion. Let me share this. Okay, so robots.txt. I first I want to start by talking about Search Console a bit. It is one of the most buggy tools, or it's very buggy, and a lot of uh, thank you, Mubashir. I'm surprised as well, right? I'm surprised as you are. Um, so yeah, back to request indexing in Google Search Console. So generally speaking, when you're dealing with Search Console, the reporting part or the inspect or like the pages report, like the diagnostic sections, there's always a bug most of the time, right? So you can actually say inspect, like use the inspect tool for a URL, and it can show you it's not in the index and it's actually in the index. So you may want to run this few times and double check, like search for that page title in search and see if you get that URL. Um, however, I have not seen an incident of the opposite where it inspect tool shows a URL is indexed, but it's actually not, right? So it can potentially say something is not indexed when it is working. Um, And that's a general behavior of Search Console. Like if you're using the indexing report, the pages report, and there's errors and stuff, these errors may be gone. They may not exist anymore, but you still see them in Search Console. They take some time. So if you see an error, it's not necessarily an error. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. Now I want to read this with you guys. Google may have a bug or issue with using the request indexing or recalling your robust text to Search Console. So here goes. Like there's a bug with requesting indexing of your robots.txt, right? There is some error. Um, there's always something happening with Search Console. Um, works for some people, and by the way, it may be a generic bug that's for everyone, or sometimes it's just your Search Console is acting out. Seriously. Um, Here's a good point John is raising. If you're trying to submit your robots.txt and you're getting an error, it may be Search Console, but we shouldn't assume the first thing it's an issue with Search Console. Like it's one of the options, but that's not the first thing you should think about. If you're using a CDN, they may potentially blocking your crawlers from robots.txt fetches. Uh, but he found it on other sites. So even though he had it working for one website, it's not working on other websites. It's the discussion here for me is not about the robots.txt and trying to submit it itself. It's about Search Console. It may sometimes you may trying to be use it and trying to use it and it doesn't work, right? Okay. Uh, Okay, what else do you want to discuss, guys, before I'm just gonna continue talking about news, but I would also like to take some questions from you or like your thoughts or that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, Google can find out about your URLs through the sitemap, through internal linking, through backlinks. Um, and then if you use the inspect tool and request indexing. So yeah, there are different ways your website can. Yes, yes, that's totally true. And something for you to know, if a URL, like let's say you block a URL in robots.txt, you tell Google, hey Google, I don't want you to crawl and therefore index this page, and you block it in robots.txt. If Google finds a backlink for this URL somewhere else on a different website, it can actually crawl it from there. So sometimes blocking a URL in robots.txt is not enough. Yes, yes, it's a good. So the inspect tool is a good diagnostic tool. It tells you which, like why Google or where Google found it. Did it find it through an internal link? Did it find it in a sitemap on a different website and so on? So it's definitely good. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's a very good question. How do we evaluate an AI citation success? Okay, I would actually start not my thoughts about robots.txt. Okay, I'll answer question one by one. So thinking about if you're successful in getting AI citations and mentions and that sort of thing. I think at the end of the day, you want traffic, right? So if you can, first of all, check your server log files, see what pages are getting crawled by which bots, right? If you have, for example, ChatGPT bot crawling specific pages regularly, that's a good sign, right? So that means this page is successful. It's getting cited, accessed regularly, and ChatGPT is citing it regularly, right? And then the second thing, how to look at the prompts. So I like your question because people are just running using APIs, and those APIs keep running like, I don't know, 10, 20, 100, whatever number of prompts, and checking, hey, is my brand there? Am I getting cited? Am I getting mentioned? And obviously the output can be different every time. And the reason that the output is different is that um, the output usually should depend on the context of the user. So if I search for something, and if I ask ChatGPT for something and someone else asks the same question, we may get two different recommendations, right? So there are two things. When you are tracking your prompts, make sure you give a lot of context. So that goes back to, do you understand really your customer? So the best clients and the best businesses I worked with are people who really, really know their customers. So I'll give you an example. So there was this was not like, this is, I was watching this show, and there was a lady that owns a coffee shop in Egypt. It's a historic coffee shop. So she's talking about it. And she has been like owning this place for so long. She had people there working for 40 years and 50 years. Imagine it, like this is their entire life. Imagine that. So it's very special. But then what caught my attention, she was talking about her customers and the type of people that come to this place. So she was like, people come here for like, they, a lot of people met their first, their what do you call that, their significant other there, like someone met their wife, or someone met her husband there, and it became a special place for them, and they come back on anniversaries, right? So that's a theme or a type of people that go to this place, right? So she knows exactly, like, if you go to if you ask a coffee shop owner who comes to you and they say, oh, people, I don't know, like give you something generic, but she gave you like very detailed what type of people come. So when you create a prompt, it's a good idea to take this context, what type of customers you have, and give that context in those prompts that you are tracking, because this is the same context they will have when they are using ChatGPT. So let's say you have a coffee shop, and the type of people come to you that are the people that work remotely. So you, if you know your customers, you would say something like, uh, "My customers are remote workers that work in tech. They are in this, in my local area. For example, I'm in Mississauga, so let's say people who are working in tech in Mississauga, who work remotely and looking for I don't know, networking, as well as like change of scenery, like, you know, you, if you've spoken to your customers and you know them well, you can describe them. And then when you, now you want to create your prompts, you can go and say, one of your prompts that you're tracking, hey, I work in tech, I'm, I don't know, a web developer or a marketer or whatever, and I live in Mississauga, and I'm looking for a place um, to work, right? So then you can, this is a very relevant, and you, so you give a lot of context, right? That, so you're likely, if you get cited in these um, prompts, this is meaningful, right? So this means something, compared to just generic prompts of, hey, ChatGPT, can you recommend me top working cafes to work from in Mississauga? This is very different, right? Like, so to measure the success, you need your prompts to be very, very specific and provide a lot of context about who your customers are. Assume you are your customer and you're writing this, and you're providing all the background story there. And then the second thing, and I know this is very weird, but I really think it makes sense, is to go very high level. So you want to go very specific and you also want to go very high level. So I discussed the specific, going very high level, let's say top coffee shops in Mississauga, very generic. If you're getting cited at a very high level regularly, that is awesome because it means you're also probably going to get cited, or you have a chance of getting cited when it's more specific. Another thing is you need to have. So I had when I was looking for my brand on ChatGPT, and I'm trying to see what, like, how I'm performing on ChatGPT when it comes to my like the things I offer, different things I'm offering, courses, newsletters, and I'm also trying Perplexity. I realized that the more context I give of about my products or about what I do on my website, the more likely you're also gonna get cited because you're ChatGPT and LLMs have a lot of context to work with. You're giving them a lot of information. So just yesterday, I was checking on Perplexity, and I was like top SEO experts in Canada, right? Or in Ontario, in Canada. Yes, in Canada. I tried the top SEO. Let me get that. Let me pull that. Top SEO um, people. Okay. For some reason, it's not working today. But yesterday, again, uh, it gave a very specific list, listed a lot of the people I know, and then my name came up. More, obviously, I still need to do more. I'm considerably like a small, upper small brand. I'm not like a very strong brand yet. I'm working on that. But I noticed when I improved the context for my courses, my citation in general improved on ChatGPT and Claude. They're providing more accurate information and more likely to get cited. So there's a problem with how much information that is available about your brand as well, right? I hope that answered a bit of your question, Wakar. Yeah, let me know. Let me try. There. I'm gonna circle back to the robots.txt thing. Okay. What are your thoughts about robots.txt? Thank you, Wakar. Okay, so for robots.txt, obviously it's important. You need to have it, but using it becomes more important as your website becomes larger. Like if you have a large website, robots.txt is very important. Um, you don't need to think about crawl budget or crawl efficiency and all these sort of things. If you have a website that has like 100 pages or 1,000 pages, I mean, yes, e-commerce, if you have a lot of products and a lot of variations, but if you're a small store, even you don't need to worry about it or about crawl budget and that sort of thing. If you are a huge website, this is crucial. um, Big websites, enterprise level websites are a different game. um, so because if you have a lot of low quality pages or pages that should not be indexed on your website and Google keeps crawling them, it's going to impact how often Google is accessing your website to begin with. Like your crawl budget may shrink because there's a lot of nonsense Google has to go through, right? So you want to make sure you're efficient to encourage Google to keep coming to your website because every crawl matters. Every crawl, there is value. Um, so robots.txt is a good place to block parts of your website or URLs you don't want Google to crawl, a lot of people are starting to use it to block LLMs as well. Um, However, blocking something in robots.txt does not guarantee that it's not going to get indexed. It still can get indexed. If someone links to a page that you blocked in robots.txt, they link to it on their website for one reason or the other, Google is going to crawl and index that page, right? So um, I think sometimes you need to have a discussion with your developers of whether these pages, if there are like if we're talking about a page or two, that's not big deal. But the conversation, um, should they block ChatGPT? This is a $1 billion question. It really depends on why. A lot of publishers are starting to block ChatGPT. Like um, news publishers, there's a big direction there. They don't want ChatGPT to, like, they don't want people to go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, Chat, what is today's news in Toronto or in Canada or whatever," and get all the news there. They don't want that. So uh, if you don't want getting to get cited, then yes, of course, block it. Um, you can also block, I mean, all the LLMs, not just ChatGPT, right? If that's so, it depends on the value you will get or you won't get, right? And sometimes I like we had to block. You may need to block crawlers because they are costing you a lot of money. So crawlers can keep crawling your website. If you again, this is more of a scenario for large websites. They are accessing your server, crawling your website over and over and over, and that's costing you money, right? Because they're using your server. Um, and if you're not getting value from that, then yes, of course, block them. And I had an incident where we had to block an entire subdomain, block Google from an entire subdomain because we didn't. First of all, we didn't want the subdomain indexed. Second, it was just costing us money, right? So no value and cost. So why would we do that? Yeah. So when you find pages that shouldn't be indexed on your website, I think the first conversation you need to have with your developers and other stakeholders like the content team or whoever owns those pages is that are these pages need to be on the website, and then do these pages need to be publicly accessible, um, um, and then okay, what if we need those pages, how can we make them better so if Google access them they're not a waste, right? Not garbage content. uh, okay, I have two questions. Sir, I have a question. I see an e-com website with clothing brands. I saw 129K pages are not indexed in Google because of errors. Okay, crawl not index and so on. But the website is ranked in Google. So why they rank, but the crawl budget are wasting these pages? Okay. Just for you to know, if Google, some of the errors flagged in Search Console are not, does not mean, I need more tissue. A second. Okay. 404s, if you see 404s in Search Console, it does not necessarily mean you need to do anything, right? So the list of URLs you see that are having problems in Search Console, the 129K, does not necessarily mean all these things are actually errors that are going to impact your crawl budget. Some of them are. I know, yes, yes. But as I said, even if they are flagged as errors, it does not mean you need to fix them. 404s are probably not going to impact your crawl budget, right? Or efficiency. They're not. Um, and depending on how those 404s were formed, like if one day you just removed the 404s, removed pages and you had tons of 404s, it can be a concern for a specific time frame, because now Google is going to look at your website as not reliable, like pages suddenly gone, a bulk of pages suddenly gone. So it may impact your rankings a bit, but it's not necessarily going to impact it forever. So what I'm trying to say is that not all of these errors are going to impact your ranking or your crawl budget. Um, right? But the good thing is, if you have a website that is ranking in search, um, and have those errors, if you fix soft 404s, for example, or if you have JavaScript or server response time issues on your website and you fix them, which may help you in crawled but not indexed, and improve your content, you can. It means your website has high authority. So if you fix those errors, you may actually end up getting more traffic and improving your visibility for a lot more URLs. So that's a good sign. Or it's you just found something that you can optimize and get value from. So that's really good. Um, okay, and then Mubashir says, but the search trend is shifting audience who used to search Google as a primary source, now prioritizing AI platforms. I think we are in a loop. People, even if people are using ChatGPT, well, usage of between Google and ChatGPT, Google's still dominant, and a lot of the use cases for ChatGPT are not things Google can do, like rewrite or summarize text, or it has way more usage types than just search. Um, yeah. So, anyways, even if users search for or go to ChatGPT to learn about something, when they want to make the conversion, when they want to make the sale, they'll probably, very big chance, they'll probably go to Google and search for you there and convert from there, right? They're still gonna want to land on your website. Uh, I don't think e-commerce websites should block ChatGPT right now. There's no point. I mean, at face value, that's what I think. I think publishers should, but e-commerce, it's good for LLMs to see you and cite you and all these things, but publishers, I think this is their product. The content is their actual product that they're selling, and if you can get it for free elsewhere on ChatGPT, then obviously they don't want that. Whereas in e-commerce, whatever you're selling, ChatGPT cannot offer an alternative. So if you're selling bags, ChatGPT cannot give people bags. It can recommend bags. It can say, hey, this is better. This has more, I don't know, features that work for you, whatever, but it cannot give the product. But for content, because people who publishers, their product is the content, right? So I don't think as an e-commerce you should block ChatGPT and LLMs at the moment. Thoughts, questions, comments? What is Shukriya? What is that? I'll Google it. Like my first impression is thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay. How does others think? Like I've been like talking nonstop. I feel like kind of dominated the conversation, and I it's unintentional, to be clear. You guys are the muted ones. It's not me, and I want to hear from you. Like, what are your thoughts? If you have any other questions, what are you thinking right now? That would be nice to share. Okay, I think while you guys are thinking, we can go back and looking at news. Oh, search ranking volatility. Who still thinks a lot about search ranking and you know movements in search and Google updates when it comes to rankings? Who is that thinks that is important or impactful right now as much as used to be? I don't think it's the same. I'm not saying who as like who show me yourself. No, like what are your thoughts, guys, on rankings and um, updates that change rankings? Like, do you think it's important as it used to be? Well, okay, I'm gonna give the answer. I don't think they're as important to report on as they used to be. I use ranking as a diagnostic tool, like to understand like the situation or how good is this page to begin with, but not necessarily as hey, we're successful, we're ranking number one. Because if you're ranking number one and there is AI overviews and you're not there, it means nothing. If you're not getting traffic, it means nothing as well. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Merchant Center. We've been speaking. I think PPC is trouble. What do you mean? I mean, there are a lot of features in search. GEO fixes. Okay. Um, well, the first thing I would look at the content, right? So if you're running those prompt audits and you need to analyze them and see what you're missing out, like what for example, what your competitors are being mentioned for, what pieces of information you should have on your website that you don't. So that's the first fix. Um, and then the second fix is I would look at server response time. I would look at server log files and see how LLMs are engaging with the website. I would also look at if you have JavaScript issues on your website, you should definitely resolve them because LLMs are not as good in handling them as Google is. Um, how will it? How will they affect rankings? Well, there's no guarantee, right? Um, you are setting up the environment for a good like for LLMs bots to have a good experience on your website, but there's no guarantee that they will cite you or not. So these are some of the things you can do on your website, but then there's also Reddit. Um, I really, really think brands should have their own subreddits and yeah, I agree, Mubashir. I think marketing is facing a lot of problems these days. So it's PPC, it's SEO, it's whatever you're doing, there's a lot of challenges, and AI is a big part of that. Um, yeah, back to Reddit. I think you should, if you have a social team or a person that's managing social, I really recommend you ask them to have a brand subreddit and encourage customers to sort of uh, okay, I'll finish the sentence and then I'll respond. Encourage customers to ask questions there and and then you respond to them there. Like, have an active subreddit. That is definitely a bonus. And I'm not saying you should spam Reddit or anything of that sort. PR, if you have the budget and you can run a PR campaign, that is great. If you can build your own data studies like I did in your area, in whatever industry you're in, and that's not complicated right now. There's a lot of public data sets that you can use. I've seen people use data from even Google Trends and create a PR campaign. So if you think about that, I think this can be very useful for your GEO efforts as well. Okay, Joseph Senji says, "Hey, in the end of the meeting, I would request you to share some insights into becoming an expert SEO. Like if you can suggest some courses on or a roadmap to become a good SEO. I am new to SEO and is slowly transitioning into the field. I'm learning slowly, but can you suggest a roadmap to become an expert?" Thanks, Raviraj. Really appreciate all of you joining today. So, okay, Joseph, if you want to start in SEO, there's theory and there's practice, right? There's yeah, don't look at PBNs and that sort of thing. No. Okay, so I would suggest if you're looking for theory, a solid theory course would be something on Coursera, for example, right? There is an SEO specialization that gives you really a deep understanding of SEO, but I don't know if it's up to date. Like, I don't know when it was last updated. So check that out. So that's the theory part. Look, and there's a lot of free resources. You don't need. There's a technical SEO course on SEMrush, right? That you can take if you want to start there. Uh, there's a lot of content resources. Just you need like start with one and finish it. It doesn't have to be the best, but then comes the execution part, like the practical part, right? Because as I said, SEO, you need the foundation, the theoretical part, you need the practical part, and that's where you need to find out how you're gonna do it. So if you can audit websites, like you learn technical SEO, find an SEO checklist, start doing audits, executing those. I can actually post a roadmap. Maybe I can like arrange something and post a roadmap on LinkedIn or maybe in my next newsletter edition. Um, so you need to execute and practice. So to execute technical audits, I'm not going to tell you you have to build your own website, but that would be great. If you can't, then you can just pick any website at random and audit it, right? So that is that. Content, um, there is no work around this. Like you have to have your own thing, and there's a lot of ways you can have websites for very low cost right now. Like if you can buy a domain and pay GitHub $4 a month, you can use Claude and create a website. There's also Claude is gonna guide you through the whole way, and it's really really cheap. So it's like I don't know, $11 for the domain, one, and then $4 every month for hosting your pages on GitHub. And you can just start with that. Start a test business. Like let's say start an agency that specializes in something unique, and then see how can you get. And when I say unique, so to reduce the competition. So let's say, okay, this is an agency in marketing, um, crochet yarn, something very random. That's your specialty. So when you specialize in something random like this, so you're not building an actual agency; it's a test agency, right? Something to test your content and your technical skills. So build the set of pages, a blog, what this service is about, and start seeing how you are ranking. Start searching and seeing how you're ranking. Start searching on LLMs and see. The reason I'm picking something very specific like crochet yarn that is random and I don't think there are any other agencies is you want to see some improve like behavior in search, and you want to see how you perform in LLMs, and you do that's not going to happen if you're a new test website competing against actual big agencies. If you go after an actual agency, right? SEO agency, for example, your chances of testing your website and learning and being able to learn and seeing movement is just going to be very hard. So build a test website in a very random thing, very specific thing, so you don't have a lot of competition, and see if you can get it to rank, see if you can get it to test its citation and mentions in AI overviews and AI mode and in ChatGPT as well. Yeah, that's where I would start. Again, I think I like this topic, and I'm going to cover that, I think, in my next newsletter. So thank you for inspiring me. I always come to those meetings and I leave with a lot of inspiration. Do I talk too much? Okay, who has another question or a thought or something they want to share? We still have like 5 minutes. That's a very good question, Mubashir. So this meeting is a random, like it's not random. I mean, it's a monthly meeting I run where anyone can come and ask questions, share something they found, like a case study or even a small tip. Like people have always came to this meeting and shared like very interesting tips. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a place where you can meet other SEOs, ask questions, get answers, share your work if you want. It's a networking event in a way, but it's also a place where you can get answers and learn SEO. So that's what this meeting is about, and I do it every month. Yeah, yeah, I like it actually. I've met a lot of people so far, and we've discussed a lot of things. I mean, let me share all the previous episodes. So I upload those to YouTube, so you can actually check out the previous ones if you want. Um, okay, here you go. So this is the playlist. We've been doing this since October last year. And you'll find all the only one time we didn't do it is December because there's a lot of holidays and stuff, and the meeting is always the end of the month. So end of month in December is where there's a lot of holidays, but otherwise we've been doing it every single month since then. And I'm really really proud of this meetup. A lot of people came in. We had a lot of very good discussions. SEO is definitely not dead. Like, what are you talking about, man? It's people will always be searching. People will always be looking for things and need help, right? And Google search, ChatGPT, all these things are just helping them do that. So SEO is not dead. You always need to create content, and to create good content, you need SEO research. You always need to make sure your website is technically valid and accessible to bots. To do that, you need an SEO. So SEO is far from dead, far from dead. And I know there has been people who are trying to say that I will say for some reason SEO is dead. I have never said that. I have no intention of saying that. um, there is this without SEO, there is nothing. SEO, yes, yes, it's really very crucial. It's very crucial. Even if you have an internal website, like even for your internal site search, like if you're searching inside your website, there is a lot of things you can help with. So yes, exactly, Muhammad. And as I said, a lot of people are always trying to misconstrue or misinterpret or twist what I say. I have never said SEO is dead or think about saying SEO is dead. That is very stupid thing to say, in my opinion. If someone comes and says SEO is dead, geo is a new thing, that's also still not good. Geo is just let's not get into that debate. um, all right. So I'm going to upload this on YouTube in a bit. Thank you for today. It's gonna be there today before end of day. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm also gonna post the invite for next month meeting, probably as well today, end of day as well. So yeah, hope I see you again, guys. And thank you so much for joining me. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, let me share. I think you know me on LinkedIn. I'm assuming, right? Okay, let me share my LinkedIn just in case. Uh, yes. Okay, thanks, guys, and see you next month. Bye.